Sweet.
You guys are live.
Oh, what the hell? DNVR bets daily. RK and Dre and producer Allie not warning us before we go live. Really appreciate
Even
that
better.
all the way.
Even
We
better.
love that. Welcome in to the show officially now that we actually know that's happening. Andre.
Yeah.
How you feeling? How you doing? You all right?
No, I'm not doing all right. In fact, I'm switching everything up. I'm not wearing my dad hat. The hat in the background is different from the hat that I had prior. Mixing it all up, mixing the hat game up because I went against our brand, the KB overs last night, thinking that I was outsmarting these run totals that we had in play because it was, the ace pitchers in the 3 games that I took the unders on, and did not matter. All the overs hit, and they hit by quite a bit. I apologize profusely for going against our brand. I just the spirit of the KB over, that's who I'm apologizing to, and that's why I'm not wearing shades and we're switching things up.
That's fair, and I respect your decision to switch things up. I even got burned on taking an under last night. Now, it took a meaningless 9th inning run to do that to me, but nonetheless, an L is an L, and I took that L, but I've still got sunglasses on today because of my LG Twins. They covered their team total over. They won the game handily and gave me a 2-1 finish on the night. And I believe we have a graphic with the records here. Let's bring that up. Bringing me to 11-7. Hey, but 500, you're still alive, Trey.
No, and I mean, I got to remind myself, this is all on KBO, Faroe Islands, and UFC bets. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, honestly,
6 shows in.
Yeah, okay. 500 on all these random things ain't bad. Sure ain't bad.
I'll take it.
Okay. Here we go with what we have today. And I am super, super excited about this line. We just keep finding gems. And I gave this one out today on the DNVR Broncos podcast as my pick of the week. And so if you listen to that already, well, you have a little bit of a head start here. But here's the line.
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs wins. So their total wins versus Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy's touchdowns combined. Now, we're kind of burying...
That's just regular season touchdowns. There's no receiving touchdown specification there.
Yes, any sort of touchdown. And, the most exciting part here is right there in that graphic. Chiefs wins minus 150. Sutton and Jeudy touchdowns plus 123. Now, there's a lot to consider here. One thing is that Cortland Sutton had 7 touchdowns last year. And while there is obviously the idea that there's going to be more competition for those touchdowns last year, it also wasn't exactly a potent offense he was playing in for most of the season. And as I mentioned last night, he only got 2 of those with Drew Lock. So he had 5 touchdowns from the combination of Joe Flacco and Brandon Allen. And I mean, that's not a good combination, and really 5 isn't a very good number. He probably would have ended up with somewhere around 7 either way.
Yeah, fair.
The Chiefs, how many games did they win last year, Andre?
12.
They won 12 games.
Yes.
Now, I could see them winning 13, and I could see them winning 14. Anything above that would be, a historically great season. But I'm going to set the number at 13 here just for my personal, as I process this.
Yeah.
That means that Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy have to average less than one touchdown per game between the two of them.
Right.
You know, even if the Chiefs go a perfect 16-0, Jeudy and Sutton just have to average one touchdown per game between the two of them.
That's the real beauty of this bet, is that the Chiefs wins can only go so high. They are capped out at 16 no matter what. But Jeudy Sutton, that's where it's interesting. Their win total, their win line is set at 11.5. My metric has them regressing by like a half win. So maybe take the under there, but they're saying it's basically a toss-up based off their performance from a year ago. So you're talking about in that 11 to 12 range. Well, Sutton had 7 last year, was basically on pace for that with luck anyways. And Jeudy, we go by the average of the top rookie wide receivers the last half decade or full decade, and you're looking at 6. So yeah, 7 plus 6, there's 13. I think that's enough.
I do too.
But even if you have and I think the range is really 12 to 16. 12 is the low end, 16 is the high end. We project them for luck to have about 22 passing touchdowns. Last year, they only had 16. That increase will help. I think, when Zach and I were setting the lines before we knew what it was set at on DraftKings, we were at like 25 passing touchdowns. So I really think this is kind of a safe bet. I would have, if you would have asked me before we put this prop in with DraftKings where the odds would be set, I would kind of assume they were switched. Like Jeudy Sutton touchdowns minus 150 and Chiefs wins plus 123. And DraftKings has been super generous so far. I don't know if this is another act of generosity or if we're mining another market inefficiency with the Broncos' performance under Drew Lock being a little undermined here.
That's true. It's like, does this girl really like me, or is she just flirting with me? Like, that's how I feel about so many of these DraftKings lines.
That's really true. That's true. Yeah.
You mentioned it. Here's what I love about this the most is it's like a game where the team you're playing only gets one possession per game, and they have to score on it. Whereas you get what? I mean, how many possessions is the Broncos offense going to get in a game?
Right. 8 to 10 opportunities a game. Yeah.
So you've got 10 chances every game to get one touchdown from Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs only get one possession. They get one chance. They either win or they lose. So, what if Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy combine for 3 touchdowns in week 1? And the Chiefs lose,
right,
or even if they win, you've got a 3-1 lead, and they can only catch up one game at a time.
Yeah.
This not only is this a good bet, this is a fun bet. This is a fun bet to be a part of.
Yes. If you're a Broncos fan, this is like the best bet we've thrown out there yet because you really like your chances. And again, I guess we've talked about this with some of the totals that Locke had. It does come down to these odds, the fact that the Broncos the last few years, they just haven't generated many passing or many touchdowns through the air. I mean, not that the running game was much better, but in general, they haven't produced a lot of touchdowns through the air. And this offense under Locke, under Shermer, with this, blossoming group of young wide receivers needs to prove that they can kind of change that historical trend of the last 5 years or so.
Yeah. So obviously a lot of everything we've been doing is revolving around the Broncos offense being a completely different animal this year than it has been in years past. And again, I think this is why why there's such an opportunity to make money here, because history is telling us, hey, this team has been atrocious on offense, honestly, for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
And I see an opportunity for massive improvement. We've done Drew Lock touchdowns. We've done Drew Lock yards. Right. We talk about all this stuff, and I just don't think the rest of the world sees this coming. I tweeted this out tonight. Nick Wright, which, Nick Wright, but he has the Broncos going 3-13 this year. Like, that's less wins than Drew Lock had in 5 games last year over the course of a 16-game season. So there's so much national sleeping going on that's why I think you have such a chance here. Everyone loves the Chiefs. A lot of people doubt the Broncos offense, and shout out to Jay Stone there in the comment section for tuning in.
Big time.
But it just feels like there's a huge opportunity ahead of you because of the national sleeping on the Broncos.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, can you get this like region settings in another state where this is legal? Or is this just available in Colorado? I guess, I mean, not that it matters, but
these should be available everywhere. And Allie, I believe, has the video here that we can show you, because of course you can only get this bet on DraftKings Sportsbook because they partnered with us. We helped them come up with these lines. So you go to NFL, you go to player totals, you scroll all the way over to Broncos specials, and it's the very first one on the top. That's where you get in on this. You can only do it at DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure you use the code DNVR when you go over there to get in on this. And this is, like I said, Broncos wins over under. That's going to be fun to track, obviously. The Drew Lock props will be fun to track your progress from week to week. This one, I have a feeling this one might be more fun than those, just because.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, all it takes is one early game. What if Drew Lock goes off one game? He throws 2 to Jeudy and 2 to Sutton.
Yeah, and I mean, Super Bowl hangovers too, What if the Chiefs start just a smidge slow? It's
right.
It's great.
Every loss for the Chiefs becomes an even bigger win for you, which is another reason, I personally wouldn't take the over-under on Chiefs wins just because it's going to be a painful bet to take every week. This one is more fun, though, because every Chiefs loss is a huge win for you. And let's say they win 10 games. I mean, that's very unlikely, in my opinion, but it's possible. Injury here, injury there, whatever. Well, then all of a sudden, this becomes an easy win for you.
Yes.
I'm projecting 13 wins, and I still think that you have a very good chance of winning this. They start slipping below that. Every time that happens, your chances go up. And I think Drew Lock's going to throw upwards of 30 touchdowns. Now they have him set at 20.5. So let's split the difference. 25.
Right.
15 of those, could those go to Sutton and Jeudy, or 13 of those, which is what you might just need to win this? Yeah, of course.
I think you should factor like 60% of the touchdowns go to those two guys in the air.
Right. You're obviously going to have Melvin Gordon, who likes to catch the ball out of the backfield in the red zone. You are going to have Noah Fant, Albert Okwuegbunam, who was a favorite of Drew Lock's at Missouri, and maybe that is a scary part of this. Maybe he comes in and he's instantly Drew's favorite red zone target.
Yeah,
I think he's a little more raw and it isn't going to just be able to walk into the NFL and become a red zone beast. Yes. I think Jerry Jeudy can, though. And again, that leads back to why we're here. So this one's fun. Of course, we talked about Jeudy versus Sutton last night. If you don't like pinning two Broncos against each other, here's your bet. Combine them together.
Yeah, what a beaut.
Really like this one. So we might even have to add it to the Holy Trinity, although that would make it harder to brand. We could call it the Fantastic Four, though.
Wow. Well, I think we have to, because of course Jeudy Sutton is not included. That was more a debate, a fun line. That's not part of the.
I don't think either of us were as sold on that as we have been on, of course, the Holy Trinity. Do we still have the Holy Trinity graphic back there? Maybe it's somewhere else. Yes, we do. In Denver, we trust, and in Alley, we trust.
So true.
On the graphic just in seconds there. So here's the Holy Trinity. Broncos over under 7.5 wins. Drew Lock over 33.75.5 passing yards. Drew Lock over 20.5 touchdowns. And maybe tomorrow we have the Fantastic Four for you. So regardless, I love the tagline, in Denver we trust.
How about we take before we forget for the umpteenth time, 2 comments that were on the pod before we jump to the picks.
Love it. Go for it. Read them to me.
All right. Phil's Invisible Tie says, pulled the trigger on joining DraftKings and got in on the Broncos win total at 6.5 just before it expired. Nice. Thanks, guys. What are your thoughts on Buffs win total at 3? Big question mark at quarterback and new coach, but seems like a no-brainer to take the over there to me. Am I just being a homer, or do you feel the same?
Jeez, man.
And it is. It's still right now. It's at 3. Let me get it for you. We are looking at a plus 110 for the under and a minus 137 for the over.
So I don't really want to get too deep into this because it's not Buffs. I'll talk Buffs all day. But
of course,
we just found out today that schools in California aren't going back for the fall semester. And we had previously heard that schools who aren't in session aren't going to be playing college football. So essentially, unless they do a spring college football season, the powers that be in California just said there's no Pac-12 football this year.
Right.
With that being said, the other experts are saying schools that can play are going to play. They're going to make new schedules and all that stuff. So what I would want to know here is, we know that you have the fail-safe in that Broncos over-under. If they cancel one game because of this,
right,
you're safe.
Yeah.
I want to know, what if they're still going to play a 12-game schedule, but they're going to rearrange all the teams? Does this bet reset?
Yeah, that's a good question. And these are the type of questions we're going to have most of the year, I think, is like mining different potential inefficiencies, because sports are just kind of different this year. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't really know, because of course, if the season's canceled for the Buffs, you just get your money back. That's the beauty of legal betting. But how does that change? How does that reset if the schedule changes and the length of games changes? That's a good point. That's a much more interesting one there.
I'm looking it up right now just to see if there's anything on here about the season. So I'll see if I can find that as we talk here. But
Perfect.
Let's go back to this idea. 3 wins for the Buffs. That breaks my heart that's where the line is, because rarely are they very off, and I would need them to be. Jeez, what is that noise you were making over there?
It's we need to put a little WD-40 on the old mic stand.
Good God, Andre. Okay, so you need 3 wins here.
Yeah.
Now, I most certainly can go ahead and pick out 3 wins for you. You're getting Colorado State. You're getting Fresno State. You just need one more somewhere on the board here, and I'm sure it's out there if you want to find it. Where I would actually be most intrigued is if they actually do have to revamp the schedule, because I think the Buffs would end up drawing more Mountain West teams. The Utah States of the world. Teams, you're going to go with teams who are regionally close to do your best to try and go through it. So here's the Buff schedule. And again, once you get past Fresno State, it doesn't look all that friendly. There are some Pac-12 teams who will be down. But what if you were able to make this 3 bet, and then the Buff schedule is all of a sudden a bunch of Mountain West teams?
Yeah, it's a lot of white. It's like the Mountain West teams that aren't in California all of a sudden. So it's like Utah State, Colorado State. Fresno wouldn't be there, but you'd sub them out with Wyoming and Boise or something.
Yeah.
Not that Boise would be all that beatable, but
yeah. And then probably you bring in some Big 12 teams as well. Right. But I mean, first of all, as crappy as all this is, that would be really fun. A completely random non-conference schedule across the board. I mean, you're probably still going to play the Arizonas, but you sprinkle in all these, the Utah State, BYU's maybe on the schedule. Right. Like this, that sounds fun.
That'd be nice. Right. You'd still play Utah. You'd still play the Arizonas. You'd still play Oregon, who was on the schedule.
No Air Force, please.
Yes,
I never want to play Air Force again.
Air Force. You're right about that. But I mean, we got to remember they would have hit the over the last 2 seasons by October. I mean, they were ranked entering Pac-12 schedule and had like four wins the last 2 years out of that first month of the season. So, boy, it does seem like, you're getting pretty good value there. But nice question.
I would take the over, but I'm a massive homer. So.
Oh yeah, I think that goes without.
When it comes to the Buffs, I got the helmet sitting right behind me.
Yeah, we know. And then Drew Che says, "What's up, guys? Greg Hardy messed up my parlay, but luckily I took the awesome over 11 seconds line and basically doubled my DraftKings bankroll. I hate that you guys tapped into one of my vices and now have a dedicated pod to betting. So thank you, Drew. We appreciate it. That's what we got there.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Let's move on to tonight's plays. Yes. And it starts with something actually going on tomorrow. Andre, as I told you, I got real into UFC this weekend, but I'm not ready to call myself an expert.
Right.
You most certainly know a lot more about the sport than I do. So why don't you give me what you think for the UFC slate? And to Von Ton Bomb, when you win, you get to wear glasses. I'm sorry, like those are the rules around here.
Those are the rules,
I'm just,
unfortunately.
When I lose, I'll take the glasses off.
Yep, that's true. That's why I'm not wearing glasses. I will say you may be overstepped with the bedazzled. For 2-in-1 night, bedazzled shades was maybe overstepping.
They're actually not bedazzled. I don't really know what they are. There's like leather weaved through there.
Yeah, no, that's the goal of Von Ton Bomb.
It's not really about me being 2-1 last night. It's more me being 7-3 in my last 10.
Yeah, no, I mean you came out of the weekend and then had some nice KBO picks. Absolutely.
Also, I'm running out of eyewear here. Maybe I'll just throw on the Buffs helmet next show.
Oh, please no. Not another snafu with the headphones. Okay. From the main card of tomorrow's UFC fight night, I'm obviously taking my guy, Marvin Vettori, the Italian, against Carl Robertson. Robertson, a dangerous kickboxing type, but Vettori, he's had some big-time fights before. I think he's right on the verge. He's my one favorite, Ryan, so I think you'll allow it.
I will. How much of a favorite is he?
Oh, it's a minus. Let me make sure I'm getting the right one from DraftKings here. So, pardon me, minus 186.
Okay. As long as it's less than 2, then, I can live with it.
I agree with that. Okay, then maybe the most exciting fight of the night is the lightweight fight with number 15 contender Alex Hernandez, actually a slight underdog to Drew Dober, who trains with Justin Gaethje. Dober is a knockout specialist, really a beast, so he's got some momentum building, which is why he's the favorite here. But Hernandez has a length advantage. He's really good on his feet, too, a really well-equipped, explosive striker, and he's got more of a ground game. So, it's like the ranked opponent's the underdog. I'm going to take that value with Hernandez at plus 100. And then the 2 co-main events. I'm going back to the well with my theory of heavyweights. You might as well take the underdog. Ben Rothwell is the dog here at plus 115. He's also the more experienced heavyweight. I think his game's a little more well-rounded, though he won't pass the eye test, which I know is important for you. I will take Anthony Smith to win the main event, but rather than taking that money line where he's like at minus 180, there's a lot of nice value in the winning method here, where you can pick Anthony Smith at plus 100 to win by KO, TKO, or DQ. And I think that's the most likely outcome is he wins, and he wins by that method. And I love the value of the plus 100 there instead of just taking the money line at minus 186. So there are my 4 picks for the UFC.
All right, I like it. Make sure we get those written down somewhere,
Yes.
so I can follow you.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to our good friend, the KBO,
Yes.
and
Well,
I'm excited about this because I feel like I'm starting to learn a little bit of a pattern here in the KBO. Now, that's famous last words, probably.
Yes. Yeah, truly.
But I've got 2 bets in here tonight. The first one, of course, I begin with my LG Twins. The bats have been hot ever since that 7-run 8th inning the other night. They scored another 9 runs last night. They're set at team total over 4.5 tonight. I think they get that one and keep it rolling with the offense.
Yeah.
Then my second bet here with the KBO tonight, I'm only going 2 bets. I'm trying to stick with what I'm confident with. Got a nice little lead on 500 here, so just trying to stack wins. The second one here, Deuce on Bears at Lotte Giants over 10.5. I think both of these teams have been hitting well lately. No one can pitch, so it seems. I'll touch wood. I don't want to jinx it. So both overs here, sticking with the KB over and just picking 2 of my favorites here.
Yeah, I told you on that one, I'd probably take the over if the line was set at like 21. And you said, yeah, they did score 17 last night. So 10.5 still seems pretty modest. I'm going to add that in. I'm going back to the KB overs to salvage myself. So I'm taking that with the Twins Wyverns. That's over 9.5. Bears Giants and Dinos KT Wiz 9.5 as well.
So you've got how many games there?
Got 7 picks, 3 games in the KBO.
All right.
We're turning it around, RK.
We could have a dramatic swing and things by tomorrow night.
That's right. But I can't, if I play things scared, that's where I get myself in trouble. So just got to go with it.
Big motto of mine, Andre. Scared money don't make money.
It's so true.
So there you go. Stay hot. I'm not. I just want to clarify. I'm not being scared here. I'm just being confident.
I wasn't saying that in reference to you. I was just saying, if I was to hold myself at 4 when I know I've got these KB overs, I'd end up regretting it. So I'm staying strong. And
to the commenter there, yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. If he believes that, he should go ahead and just hammer the under on Broncos. Put your money where my mouth is. Get DraftKings. Go ahead and hammer it. And of course, I tweeted this out. Already got, it looks like 71 people are responding to that. And of course, I left that GIF there because that's what I felt like I was doing, just bringing a grenade into Broncos Twitter and then leaving. So there you go. You had Adam Rank last year. I believe he had the Broncos at 2-14. Drew Lock more than doubled that Drew Lock doubled that on his own.
That's right.
And so now you've got Nick Wright at 3-13, and if you watch the clip, I believe is it Eric Mangini? That's a person, right?
Yes.
Former coach.
That's right. That's right.
When his name came, right when his name came in my head, it felt wrong. I think I always used to get him and Mark Mangino. Like, is it Mark Mangini?
Oh,
Eric Mangino.
Yeah. Now you're confusing me, but I know exactly. It's like Steve,
the skinny Mangini. One who coached for the Jets.
Oh, no. Okay.
So Eric Mangini was on there when he gave that prediction, and he was like, I don't know really where you're getting that Broncos thing from. Vic Fangio, usually his teams improve over time on defense. Drew Lock came in and won 4 out of the last 5 games. Like, I think you're way off base there. And then Nick Wright just didn't even respond to that. So I don't think he's very confident in his take there.
I'll just say DraftKings Sportsbook has the line at 7.5. So going that much under seems pretty aggressive.
Yeah, if I was one of these national guys and I had to make a record for every team, I would just go look at what Vegas has. Yeah. Go to get as close as I can to that while making all the numbers still add up.
Yeah, pretty much. That's not a bad strategy.
Like, you'll probably end up looking pretty smart because rarely does Vegas end up looking dumb in large sample sizes.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So there's the tips for tonight. Of course, if you didn't catch it earlier, our big pick of the night that we're adding to our holy trinity of Broncos props is Kansas City Chiefs wins versus Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy touchdowns. So you get the total of the wins versus the total of those two players combined touchdowns, and you're getting plus money on that. Not only is this a great bet, but like I mentioned earlier, it's a fun bet. It's only available at DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know that because it was my idea to send it in to them, and they turned it into a line for you to bet on. It's a really cool thing that we here at DNVR are doing, so that's exclusive to us and exclusive to DraftKings Sportsbook. So make sure you go download DraftKings Sportsbook and use the code DNVR when you do. And of course, as I always mention at the end here, if gambling has become a problem for you, you can call the National Gambling Hotline 1-800-522-4700. Keep it fun. Don't let it get out of hand. And if it does, there's a number that you can call, and those people can hopefully provide you help. But okay, that is going to wrap it up for us tonight. Another fun one, and I can't wait for some UFC tomorrow. And I guess as a programming note, if UFC does run late into the 9 o'clock hour, we will pick up shortly after the final, the main event ends there. So just so you know, if you're looking for us, it's 9:15 and that hasn't ended. Well, that's why. It should end before, but just wanted to build that in. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. See you guys, and thanks again for tuning in.